money, but don't gild the lily, because I have seen people get spanked. So when you go in there and say, I can't do anything, yeah, this Depuy Pinnacle just ruined my life. I'm useless. I can't. It's made me so miserable. All I can do is cry. I can't do anything all day. My life is ruined. I'm empty. And a lot of times those people get zero from a jury. As I mentioned, I can't go into it, but I saw just in the last, I think it was 2013. Wow, it's been a while. I saw a Asian woman who's a doctor who was riding a tram down here at a place that I can't tell you where. But the tram fell over just out of absolute carelessness. The driver was going way too fast past Fungo Land or something. And it tipped over and it cut off her foot. And she'd been an attractive young lady anyway. So think of this, from China, attractive young woman, doctor, medical doctor, trained in the U.S., and now she's got her foot cut off. And at her deposition, everybody was thinking she's going to say, my husband's leaving me because Chinese men want a perfect wife and I'm not perfect. I can't do my kids. I can't take them anywhere. It's just ruined my life. And she got up and said, what has it done? And no, I do everything I did before. I've learned to ski. We still go to the lake. We have a boat and we have a cabin. And in China, we still go here. So she goes, yeah, I do everything I used to. You do? And in my head, I'm thinking she just lost the case. You just said, well, then why should they give you a lot of money? But the insurance company, the case did not go to trial, but that part of it got read to the jury as we were starting with trial. And the case settled for $8 million. That answer just got the jury's hearts warmed, warm cockles of their heart. So juries like people who say that this did not ruin their life, that they're making the best of it. And if anybody asks you that, that's what you tell them. This is not legal advice. I'm not your lawyer. You may not use this as a substitute for legal advice or claim that I'm your lawyer. If you plan on doing that, please hang up, even though we're not on the phone. Hang up now. Thank you. So that's some of the things that you need to know about damages and how do they work in these Depuy Pinnacle cases. I know I had one other point weighing on my mind that I really wanted to get into, but somehow it has slipped away. But one of the things that's going to have to be addressed before we leave, though, is the punitive damages. Because I'm not sure if this was clear, but the punitive damages, which are punishment damages, and those are rarely awarded. And every large company and the Chamber of Commerce are trying to get Congress or the Supreme Court to outlaw punitive damages, because that's where companies really get spanked. And that's where people like us, little nobodies, can level the playing field with the huge billion-dollar corporations like Johnson & Johnson. And so, unfortunately, some states have enacted rules that say it has to bear a certain proportion to your general damages. So if we add up all your medical bills, it's lost wages, and it equals $200,000, well, then the most you could get in punitive damages, no matter what they did, would be about $20 million in some cases, and some states would say $2 million. Some of those states down south. But that's where you get the big money, is punitive damages, and it's rare as rocking horse shit to be able to get them in court. But thanks to Judge Kincaid, who was so disgusted with Johnson & Johnson for just sending out whatever they had to put inside our bodies, not knowing if it was the right size or not. That's why the people ahead of us got punitive damages. So that's that issue. And with that, I'm going to call it a day. I hope you've enjoyed your first day in law school. Tomorrow we'll explain why we teach in the Socratic method. Why is it that all of our tests ask you a story And why in class we ask you stories. We don't ask you, does a contract have to be in writing? Instead, we have you read a story about some people, and then we ask you, is that contract good or not, and why? So my point is that this was sort of like law school, but sort of not. But okay, enough of that. I want you to have a really good rest of your week. And I want to tell you that there will be a new episode coming out on the November 4th. And everybody have a good Halloween, and everybody cross the street real safely, because there's trick-or-treaters and cars driving around and things like that. And remember, when I was your age, I was trick-or-treating, and some idiot jumped out of a tree, a big guy too. I was a little kid. I was, I guess, 5, and he was about 12. And he thought it was funny. He jumped out of a tree and landed on top of me. I mean, he could have killed me or paralyzed me. So don't do that. Make sure your kids don't do that. Have your candy x-rayed. Oh, one last thing, as long as I got the soapbox. I'm doing very well on my revision surgery. I did have a little incident yesterday where I stretched to get something, and it started spraying blood like you wouldn't believe, like a horror movie. But after I tied my own tourniquet on it, and after a few hours, a nurse came from my insurance and looked and said, your tourniquet stopped the bleeding and you're well. Okay, so that sounds good. Okay. All right, that sounds fine. Okay, I will talk to you people next week, and I thank you, each and every one of you. I appreciate you so much for listening. If you have any question you would like me to address, you would just send your email to this address. It is hiplitigation, one word, and that is at gmail.com. Address it to GF if you want. And if you would like to chip in towards the making of this show, you can't, because we don't take anybody's money, because then we'd have to adjust what it is we say and who we say we like and who we say we don't like. So I'm going to just tell you the truth. All right, have a good day. Thanks.